This ain't financial advice. Welcome to this week's episode of Should I Take Out a Home Equity Line and YOLO my entire life savings into crypto? Definitely consult a professional financial advisor, that in which I am not. So let's talk a little bit about decentralization, because I was peeking into this article right here. Here's what Cardano's founder feels about unethical projects on the blockchain. We're going to read this out loud real quick. During a recent surprise Ask Me Anything, Cardano founder Charles Hoskinson tackled everything from personal insults and questions about communism to doubts about Cardano after the Alonzo hard fork. One of the questions directed at Hoskinson was with respect to how he feels about unethical projects on Cardano blockchain. Are they just something he has to deal with? The user asked. Hoskinson answered, however, was vehement. He said no. He said, why? Because it's an open infrastructure. And if it's an open infrastructure, by definition, good people and bad people will have equal access to it. Community curation, regulation, and other things will show up to help clean that up. And that's one of the reasons that Wallace Inc. is here, because if we see bad actors, we want to call them out. So back to this. See, that's the thing. Let's talk about decentralization again, because decentralization is a plethora, currently over 3,000 computers networked together, working as one, okay? It's not a PS5 or a PlayStation that you can just turn on and turn off whenever you so feel. That's not decentralization. You can't just turn off Bitcoin. You can't just turn off Ethereum if you don't like the way it's working. Okay, you can't just hit the old reset button. This is not Nintendo. This is a decentralized network. It's not Charles' little play toy. And I hear people say things like, they don't really know what they're saying. They're like, Cardano should sell out to Microsoft. What happens if Cardano buys Microsoft, or Microsoft buys Cardano? It's not like that. Okay, it's like Bitcoin's not a company. It's not for sale. Neither is Cardano. It's a decentralized network of computers all over the world that function together as one. It's not a public company. It is an open infrastructure to which anyone can launch a node. It's borderless and it's permissionless, meaning Nerd didn't have to write Cardano a letter to say, hey, can we start the Nerd node? No. So there's all types of people on this type of network ecosystem, and they don't need permission to do it. Nor is Cardano for sale. Cardano and Bitcoin are like living organisms, basically, that can act independently, and they can act in ways that are good and in ways that are bad. Okay, if bad things happen on Cardano, hopefully there's a community governance system that comes in to rectify things like that, and a voting network that can have justice. Although with that being said, it's not like we're working for Nabisco here, okay? If Nabisco, doesn't want to put out its ginger snaps anymore, they can just put the old kibosh on it. But that's not what a decentralized network, permissionless, borderless network is. Now, speaking of decentralized networks, I want to point out a couple of these projects right now, okay? Definity, which then became Internet Computer Protocol, was funded by Andreessen Horowitz. Funded by Andreessen Horowitz. Definity raised 102. They then became ICP, which shot into the top 10 a few months ago. Went up to 800, then down to $30 a share. Okay? Now, if you say, who funded Solana? Also, Andreessen Horowitz. Venture capital firms. And the reason I bring this up, okay, because they love to, crypto startup Solana raises $314 million, okay? I believe that's about 5 times more than Cardano raised. So if you look at Internet Computer Protocol, okay, and you take a peek here, because we're talking about decentralization, max supply, 469 million. Circulating supply, 162 million. More than half of the tokens are not in circulation. A little scary there. Okay, and who controls it? trading for $50 a share. That thing went to $800. Okay? Not going to touch that. Not going to say that I didn't trade it a little bit. I ended up losing a little bit on the trade. But you know what I actually ended up doing? Was flipping that trade into Cardano, just waiting. And just waiting. And that turned out to rectify all the losses that I tried to be Mr. Trader Guy, just with a couple $1,000s. Nothing special. But once again, when you're a trader, you're a traitor. So then we look at Solana. And if we zoom in on the circulating supply here, we have 297 million with a total supply of 500 million. Well, where is the other 200 million? That's nearly 50%. And how many of the VCs still hold those coins? Like, I'd really like to know, because if you look at the breakdown, I know of Internet Computer Protocol, the large majority of those coins are held by the VCs, and same with Solana. And it costs an arm and a leg to run a node on Solana. So it just makes me wonder. Now, here's another example of centralization. Andreessen Horowitz has a track record of, you know what? They get in early on those seed rounds, and when they get the first chance to dump, I'm sure that they do. Doesn't matter, okay? So that's the difference, one of the differences between centralization and decentralization. See, decentralization is truly for the people. Centralization is for the venture capitalists, okay? Now, when you do a decentralized platform, Ethereum, Cardano, Bitcoin, you're truly doing something that's actually altruistic. And when you do a venture capitalism seed round where the majority of the funds go to the big time players, that's not altruistic at all. That's the opposite of altruism, okay? When you do something that gives the power back to the people, gives the control back to the people in the computers and in the coins, that's when you have a fair decentralized network, or at least you have the opportunity to have a fair decentralized network. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano all have aspects of centralization, something we should all be aware of, okay? But so far, in my personal opinion, Cardano has done the best job to solve the crypto trilemma: security, scalability, and decentralization. And a lot of them seem to miss that decentralization, and they keep saying, we're decentralized, we're decentralized. Why? Because you had a computer across the across the road from your friend who had a computer? Okay? That's not decentralized. Okay? The only other stake pool operators I know are people I met at the Bitcoin conference. We're not in business together. Okay? And we're certainly not running nodes together. That's not how that works. We certainly weren't funded in some venture capitalism thing. We literally started from the ground up, grassroots, and so forth. And you guys have been a major part of that. Look at this, former Binance CEO Brooks on crypto. We should be a $15 trillion industry. You know, I was thinking about that comment. It's very interesting. And the reason it's interesting, because if you just look at the real estate market around the world, which is valued at somewhere around $10.5 trillion as of 2020. And you say to yourself, well, hey, if all of those titles and deeds went onto the blockchain, the most secure ledger on planet Earth, wouldn't that be a better system than what we have now? Wouldn't that prevent forgery? Wouldn't that prevent fraud? Do you think that blockchain at some point will eat the real estate industry? Do you think it'll eat up the securities industry? The proof is in the pudding, guys. It's not rocket science what we're proposing here. Now, here's something kind of cool. Hoskinson wants to win over Fortune 500 companies. That doesn't mean Hoskinson is looking for people to come buy Cardano. Cardano's not even for sale. Okay, Charles is the CEO of IOHK. Input, output, Hong Kong. Okay? The reason he wants to get Fortune 500 companies on board is so that they can use the Cardano infrastructure for their own digital record keeping, their own personal platforms to launch off of, to have a secure application on Cardano that will facilitate something better than what they already have. And the way that Cardano is going, comment down below. There you go. Another article about decentralization. Hoskinson says he wants to eliminate the need for CEOs and presidents. I mean, that's a big goal right there. And maybe one day blockchain technology will bring that to the world, where we have a fair, balanced voting system. And we don't have to rely on current antiquated political systems that continually fail us. And we have a system where it truly is a power to the people. It truly is a situation where we know our vote is counted, we know our vote is legitimate, and we know that the people have chosen the right path. Okay? That day is not today. Today we live in something very different. But one day, we could dream that every man and every woman has equal power when it comes to the choices that are made for this country. And that's, or even the world for that matter. And that's sort of the whole decentralization, centralization argument. I mean, in a corporation, you're an employee for the corporation. Do you have any say in what happens? Corporations run the United States of America, okay? Don't get it twisted. Politicians take orders from corporations. And when you have something like Cardano, which can spread that power out, okay, that can potentially let a company or a government run without needing that power head, okay, where the best decisions are actually made by the people and not one central authority or person. It's a dream. And that's the thing I love about cryptocurrency, is that it's a dream. And that's the thing that that we all can strive for, all can push forward to. Okay? Maybe not in our lifetime, but hopefully in the lifetime of the world. Right now, though, we have I'm going to throw this in. E-waste of every 2 Bitcoin transaction is equivalent to throwing away an iPad. So, once again, Cardano, the most eco-friendly, most decentralized, most secure blockchain on planet Earth. But yet, Bitcoin and Ethereum industrial complex loves to push their product, and they have more control right now. But the one thing that Cardano has is the community, the vigilant community. Part of that community is the nerd node. I want to shout out all of the new nerds in our stake pool of 647 delegations and 28,276,519. We minted 20 blocks on the blockchain. We got 922 into the nerd node. Block. We got 2,500. We got a 588 block into the nerd node. We are doing great things. Freaking great. Do you know who my great-great-great-grandfather was? William Wallace, my great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather. 23,000 into the nerd node. Block. 998 into the nerd node. Big shout out to all of our new delegates. Thank you for coming to nerd. 1,095 into the nerd node. I'm becoming British all of a sudden. 4,033 into the nerd node. Illuminati confirmed. And it looks like Cardano. Ooh! Are we raging back, boy? Woo! $2.25 dipping to $1.98? Have no fear. I feel like Cardano doesn't correct as hard and it bounces back faster because we have a strong community. All these other things, I think people look at them more like trades. And Cardano, as Novogratz would call, a weird cult. You guys are a weird cult. Well, we're a weird cult that sticks together. Best weird cult ever. Steak with Nerd. So despite the FUD, despite all of the opposition that we face, Cardano steadily grows in community members. And it's all proven right here, okay? More people each day are finding out how to stake, and how to stake with NERD, N-E-R-D is our ticker symbol. And we're sitting at 71.8 staked. You all remember when that was 69.8 staked. And we have only grown in pool sizes, which equals more decentralization, and in the number of delegations. So everybody out there, you should be proud of the community that we're in. You should be proud of the community that you have helped develop, that you have helped personally grow. And if I don't see you, I will see you on the internet. I'm out.
Stake with Nord